Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. We recently did a Archangel card question reading, asking the questions about different energy and just, I guess you can call it an update on previous questions if you like. Now, what you're looking at now is the person who requested that reading. We're looking at the natal chart, and we're looking at the chart compared to the full moon that's about to occur right here, August 2019. Now, one thing I did predict that you would see a lot of people rising up, standing up for women issues and things like that. But just before I started this video, I guess God wanted me to see it. I saw a lot of different videos. I have a twin flame and her ethnic background and the city associated with her people's name, the ethnic background. There was some tragedies that occurred with some of the so-called officers or whatever. So the people were protesting against that. Because like I said, whenever you have like a Mars, whenever you have a Aquarius type situation, even with a moon sign Aquarius, you'll see stuff like that. But little did I know that's been going on though. It's been for many years. It's in all throughout the earth. Women protesting against the powers that be for what they say is abuse to women. And you know, I was aware of some of it in say Europe and some in say like Saudi Arabia, areas like that. But this is very wide stream, way wide when I could imagine, even going up to like going up the Atlantic Ocean, even up to the Pacific Ocean. So you can expect to hear more of that, especially this month, August 2019. Even probably more so for the rest of the year, but especially this month, because when I gave, as fast as I gave that prediction based on this chart you're looking at to the left, God began sending me confirmations, and a lot of these protesters are teenage girls. Cause like I said, that whole bullying the people at the border, that's nothing new. It was a situation in the 1917s that occurred, and it was actually a 17-year-old girl that stood up then. But even now, it's a whole lot of teenage girls that are standing up, but throughout the earth. So this is the type of stuff you see when you have a Mars and not a Mars, but a Moon and Aquarius and things of that nature. Now, so we already talked about the main concerns that she had with the angel card questions and things like that. I was strongly interested in the strong Leo presence that's been contacting her for a while now, and unless that's her ex, I don't know if her ex has a strong Leo presence. Otherwise, it's someone, because again, the more you work with this information, the more you become awake to energy and things of that nature. Because what happens is when you don't really understand astrology, or you take shortcuts, you want bubblegum astrology, or you turn it into a love story, or you really don't know anything about natal charts, or you don't get yours analyzed, or any of these things, and you don't really have a real card reading and all that. It's kind of almost like a novelty. It's not the real deal, but it passes off as such, and these people don't really understand. But all of this is really about energy. Like, it's a gentleman out here on my channel. You see him standing next to his twin flame, next to Buddha. And that's Thomas More. I know him as Thomas More out here. But one time during his chart, you could even see the presence of his twin flame overseeing the females he was trying to talk to. He was trying to talk to a Leo in the 8th house. That was a soulmate. And you saw his twin flame aware of it. And then she didn't like it too much because then he was talking to a Cancer, but he didn't really care too much about her. And you could see on the chart that his twin didn't care about her. And I actually said that to him before I knew the information. I just told him what I was seeing, and he was telling me, "You're right. You know, she does it. She really does. She doesn't want to see me with this older woman. It's just my soulmate." So you could feel the energy just by doing the charts. So that's why I said that Leo you see to the right on the chart, that's either her ex, who she's recently broke up with, or that's somebody that's coming, but not yet. But they still want you to know they're there. Because like I said, a lot of this is about energy. A lot of times you're dealing with telepathy. It's a whole lot of stuff that you're dealing with. And again, like I said, if you don't really understand the power of astrology, or you're at a lower vibrational level, you won't understand it. But when you're like me, I've done thousands and thousands of these charts and talked to so many different people, and I know what's going on in my life. Plus, like I said, my twin flame is that ethnic group, and you know, a day can't go by where it's not in my face all the time, from neighbors to news, you name it. It goes on and goes on and goes on. Even I work out in public, so you see it there as well. All right, so now we're going to see for this full moon, the first house of it is, it was a 12th house, but it became the first house because the East Point EP and the AC ascendant is in the 12th house, making it the first house. So you're going to be dealing with endings and beginnings in Virgo. And she did ask me about a Virgo. So at some point on my channel, you will see that Archangel reading, Archangel questions, because she asked me about a Virgo. So that Virgo is going to be high. Well, I will say Virgo will be high on her chart in the first house, as well as where Virgo is as well, because the chart to the left is the transit chart or space chart, and that'll be as above, so below. So whatever's going on that chart to the left, which is representing space above, it'll be going on in people's personal lives, represented by the natal chart to the left, to the right. So as you can see, you're giving the first house a Virgo tone, but now you got to look at the numerology. You're dealing with number 16, which is the Tower card, Mars energy, things coming down. And then you have that number 20, which is the Judgment card, Pluto energy. Now remember, Mars, Virgo, deals with the 6th house of home, service, small children, daily activities, co-workers, subordinates. But with that 16 and that 20, it could easily mean some type of homeland concerns or home concern. So keeping the news. But like I said, anything could break up. Things are so shaky right now. Even what happened to that rapper ASAP Rocky. Now he's over in the Netherlands. Something pops off with him, but that could have became big because even the president got involved with that. So what I'm trying to tell y'all, something that's minor can happen. And I mean, like this whole thing about women being raped, that's been going on, you know. But I'm just telling, I didn't really know it was that extensive. Like I knew certain situations, but God made sure before I did this video, it's all over. Like, and they're more and more marching, and so with a Mars Tower Pluto judgment energy, anything could happen. So, and again, this is home. It could be daily activities, which does include jobs, small children, animals. And remember, Virgo is also about somebody really looking deep, examining details, pulling things up. It could be kind of critical, really with details. Home, so even in a person's home, things could be happening as well. Now, we're really just trying to see how this affects her chart, and the chart to the right. But I still would like a good understanding of the whole Mars Pluto situation with that 16 degrees and 20 degrees. Because again, the number 20 degrees is the judgment card and the tarot cards. And it could be about judgment, rebirth, inner calling, or absolution. And the tower card is about something coming down and coming back up. So it might be like home renovations as well. And again, because Virgo deals with health, it could be things with health. All right, so we're going to look at two particular websites. One is Trusted Psychic, mediums.com. A period of populism strides towards safety and protection of the little man. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. So that's what you got with the moon and Aquarius. Same thing as far as protection of the people or protection of the women. Because that's what they mean. They mean by when they say little man, they mean anybody's being bullied or it appears they can't help themselves in certain ways. So they're saying there will be approaches to try to work more on protection. So Pluto wants to bring reform, transformation, and Virgo says, yeah, I do too, but let's make sure we're doing it within the system. So they're saying that Virgo helped the upper class realize that the lower class that you're exploiting and building on and making all this money, that you better treat them a little bit better, or otherwise you may lose it. And that's going on right now because you see people trying to raise the minimum wage higher. And also, like here in New Jersey, this governor is really fighting hard to get marijuana legal. Now you had Governor Christie. He'll always be known as the governor who helped the gay people and get the marriages in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and everything. So now we got another governor. It will be known for helping people get that weed. Because you know, if you're like Montel, you'll be saying, "I need my weed," because he says he needs it for medical. So remember, both Pluto and Virgo deal with health as well. But these strides are not big ones, they're saying. So they said around that time, people that were beatniks, hippies, and bohemians started being seen as admirable figures. Whereas before that, they were seen as the scum of the earth. And I'm on Trusted Psychic Mediums. They're talking about spirit animals. Well, Virgo is small animals and small children. So that's the universe talking again. They're saying technological advances could occur as well. Also, this is a time when people become more conscious of mental illness. And they said last time the Pluto was in Virgo, or at least in the 1950s and 1960s, mental illness skyrocketed. So again, just pray for people. You may have Virgos around you, so just be mindful of that. And just to summarize, but remember, Pluto rules Scorpio, rules the 8th house. That house is about everything. From obsessions, to stalking, the taxes, the debt, to mysteries, to past lives, the dying and being reborn, death and rebirth. Pluto is thought to be at its fall in Virgo. Virgo is Pluto's weakest sign position. So they're saying Pluto in Virgo means that this person has been given many experiences throughout their lives to purge and purify egocentric self-importance and to learn greater humility. So again, with Pluto and Virgo, this is where people tell you that for your health and well-being, they're going to offer you alternative ways or revolutionary ways such as natural foods, lifestyle, holistic, naturopathic health. And these people are also into the Earth Goddess and her teachings. And remember that Virgo is an Earth sign, and Virgo also represents like the Mother Mary or the Goddess. So Pluto and Virgo is people that are somewhat radical with self-analysis, healthcare, food, and physical well-being. But these people, again, are all about purity and perfection, and that could be a problem because a lot of people don't understand it. Because, like I said, some people see Virgo as just being too detailed and too critical. So now, and with numbers like 16 and 20, it could definitely mean endings and things going down. So she'll have that energy in her first house with Taurus, and she is a Taurus. Her sun sign, moon sign, and ascendant are Taurus. And you see the numbers 25 there, which could represent the law. So Virgo and Taurus, because I'm looking at the first house to the left and the first house to the right. Virgo and Taurus are both earth signs. So she may have some type of legal stuff going on around this time because of the number 25 is a law. And also look at the Taurus on the chart. See how Taurus has that Uranus retrograde? That's when anything can happen out of anywhere. And just letting you know, just keep an eye on everything because you're seeing a lot of stuff like small children here, and you have Uranus retrograde in Taurus. That's things coming out of nowhere, and you didn't expect it to happen, but it did. And Vesta can also deal with Vesta and Taurus, believe it or not, deals with repressed sex and stuff like that. And what house is this? See, that's the ninth house of like teachers. Both Taurus and the ninth house Sagittarius deal with teachers, and you have to be careful because this is when, like I said, people they trust their teacher and stuff like that. Just recently, some girls were raped by officers. I believe it was in Mexico City. So what happens is, that's what I'm saying, and you're dealing with small children and stuff like that because you're dealing with Virgo, and I've been warning people about this since I've seen this chart, that things will be, and God's been, he keeps enforcing it. So that's why I tell people to be careful. Like I said, people want to stay in glass bubbles, and they ask for certain things, then they get it, and then they want to hide from it or run from it. And the reason why these things continue, because people keep running from it. Because if you want to be honest, children in our country have been missing for decades, and yet there hasn't been an outright revolt of what the hell's going on. And now it's becoming more and more evident of it. They can't hide it no more. See, like I said, people are not stupid. They already had an idea what was going on. And if you watch a lot of these movies, they were telling you in these movies. I remember Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks made a movie where they basically told you this shit was going on. How many of you remember that movie? And still there was no type of revolt. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, even when you see all these priests getting busted, it's a known fact. All the stuff's going on with priests, and not just in the Catholic Church, all over. But there's no real outcry. So people want to live inside their glass bubbles, and I guess they're not, I mean, I don't know what you call it, but I guess they don't want to rock the boat. So to me, I think it's kind of like a coward, because I think you have a universal right if something has happened to your child to react. So that's why I'm telling you, be very careful, because this is what you're seeing. So the sun sign Taurus just has got to be careful of anything coming out of nowhere, especially because of that Uranus retrograde. And if you look at her chart, see how her first house opposes her seventh house. So just like I told you, it's still dealing with relationships, and it's still dealing with Uranus retrograde, things coming out of nowhere. And that's why I tell people too, when you're dating a man or something like that, be very careful with that man around your children, because you really don't know him that well. And in some cases, things happen that are mutual, that the mother has no clue. And in other cases, it's downright forced. Either way, it's wrong. Legally, it's still wrong. But I mean, these cases go on all the time, because right now, the theme of what this whole reading is about is going to be Virgo in the first house to the left. But that's also about past lives and karma and endings and judgment and all kind of stuff. So they're looking at the home or the sixth house. And if you look at her chart, her sixth house is relationships. But then you got Pluto again. And we got Pluto over here with 20 degrees because that would be the Pluto Tarot card, which is called Judgment. And then you got the Taurus over here in the 9th house, which again is like higher law and stuff like that. Because I don't know if they're changing more laws to make them federal laws or state laws, as far as like with children and things are concerned. Maybe some of them are federal as well. So this is really keep an eye on your kids. Because like when you see Uranus retrograde, that's really what it is. One minute they're there, next minute they're gone. And I remember listening to a pastor preach on that. He said one time he took his family out to the movies theater. He said everything was fine or whatever the case might be. And he said, you know how when a movie's over with, people just start going the wrong way and it's tons and tons of people. So he said he thought nothing of it. And then things began to calm down a little bit. And he realized his daughter, his little girl, was missing. So he said he flipped out. Now he's a pastor of a mega church. So he's used to like, being bossy. So he said whatever he did, he went to the movie theater and said, lock this place down. And he said the guy looked at him like he was out of his mind. And the guy said, we're not locking this place down. It's people leaving. It's a movie theater. People are coming out and going in. We're not going to lock this place down. And he said he yelled at the top of his voice, like lock this place down, like he, out of his mind or something. And I guess because of who he was, because like I said, it's 4:04 p.m. I keep saying 44s and all that, 444 and all that around here. But I guess because of who he was, they probably just thought it'd be more, it's financially better for us to just lock it down, because he's famous. He got a big mega church. At that time, that was one of the biggest churches in America at that time. So he said they locked the place down, and he began, I guess they were all looking, but he was just beginning to look for his daughter all over that place. And he said finally he got into the girl's bathroom, and he was looking in a stall, and he said in one stall, his daughter was just a little girl. She was in there, but she was like crouched over, like scared, and she was just back there, scared. And apparently somebody had tried to grab her, but she might have ran in there or something happened. And they weren't expecting him to close that place down. So once those people realized that place was closed down, they just tried to get up out of there or try to get out of there so they wouldn't be implicated. But either way, he got his little daughter back. So why am I telling you that? Because you're seeing Uranus retrograde. Just the way this chart is going, this is just the time to keep your mind on home things and everything else I've been saying. And anything with education and school. But like I said, whenever you're dealing with Virgo in the 6th house, you're dealing with really smaller children and things like that. But even though I just said that, you still got to be careful, because when you deal with the 9th house, you're dealing with higher education. So if you're dealing with higher education, you're usually dealing with older. They're still like young but older. But I would just tell you, anything educational, just anything with like children or educational, just keep an eye on. Be careful. Things are going to be coming out of nowhere. Just like in Mexico City, one of the officials was trying to tell the females that were protesting that we're investigating, blah, 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 but they didn't believe them because they're just tired of it. Because this is going on all over the world. So they threw a like pink whatever on him. Whatever they threw, it's a female thing. They're mad at you. They're going to throw something. So they threw something on him, but it's all pink. You could probably find it. So that he wasn't expecting it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's the energy we're under right now. Be very careful. Even shopping. Even be careful in your home. And remember, when you're dealing with Uranus, you're dealing with electricity and stuff like that. So keep an eye on stuff, because even I got a fan I got to keep an eye on. Because sometimes it just stops spinning, because that could cause a fire. So like I said, if I'm not going to be in the room, I got to turn it off. Or if I'm leaving, I got to turn it off. and just keep an eye on it. So her sun sign is Taurus, so again that rules your second house, and that's going to be your finances, your possessions, your value system. So keep an eye on your money, keep an eye on your banking, and even in your house, just be careful. Don't just trust everybody. And Taurus can deal with sensuality as well. And in her sixth house is Libra, and you got Pluto again. So that's why I said be careful, because this is where internal things are coming out. Be careful not to be too critical of stuff, but also be careful because somebody might be trying to be critical of you. And Pluto retrograde means that anything could be taken when you least expect it. And then you got Virgo again in the sixth house. And as you see, it's Mars and Virgo. And that's why I said about children abuse, because you have to be careful. See, Saturn retrograde is abusive. The fifth house is really for children. It's the playhouse. Virgo in the fifth house is again a home or small children and small animals. Saturn retrograde is abusive, and then there goes Mars, which is abusive. And then wherever wherever Jupiter is, it's going to expand it. So you got to be careful. Now, I already told you, watch your money in the home. So, like he said, the little man. See, this is children or people that can't fend for themselves. Even they just told you how Virgo deals with mental people. So you got to be careful of even in the daycare centers and where the elderly people are kept. Sometimes they are kept in mental locations. Sometimes got to be careful because there'll be abuse there as well. And right now, Virgo energy will be highly combative. Not saying they're going to be so mean. They still be nice. People can still be nice. But also going inwardly because of all that Mars and Saturn retrograde. And Saturn retrograde is always about extremes. And sometimes a person Saturn retrograde, they can be abusive, or they may feel like they're being victimized, even if they're not. So for right now, you see it's going to be a lot of intensity one way or another in your relationship as well as the home. But again, just watching how we speak, how we respond to people could help. Second house is Libra with the finances. And we covered the Taurus pretty much. Um, See on her chart with that Pluto retrograde, that's something getting taken away from you in the vertex. That's Libra. The chart on the left is associating Libra, ruler of the 7th house, with Pisces energy. This could be spirituality. This could be inspiration. It could be endings. And then you have Neptune retrograde there, which is also escapism. So with this full moon, 7th house, it's probably going to test, because Pisces can represent belief systems as well too. And you see that big Neptune retrograde, which is kind of like escapism. Because again, that's the 7th house ruled by Libra. And as you can see, her Libra has Pluto retrograde with Lilith. And so it's almost again saying it's going to be some type of shakeup. Because Pluto retrograde in Libra in the 6th house, and the Neptune retrograde in Pisces in the 7th house, is still dealing with shakeups in relationships. Just looking at the Leo energy, because we did everything we could as far as the cards and everything. And like I said, either that Leo energy is a person she's already been with, the ex, or that energy is somebody that's coming in the future, but they don't want to be revealed right now. And if you will listen, I gave you the example of Thomas More, how you could clearly see his twin flame, who he was separated from at the time, but she was still, her energy was still involved with all his relationships. The ones that she definitely didn't want him to be with, and the ones she didn't care if he was with, and all that. And then when it finally came time for them to reunite, they did. So that's what that Leo energy could be on her chart right then and now. But now Leo rules the 5th house, and in the 5th house, the chart on the left, again, it's all about business with Capricorn. So it's going to be very karmic. Something could be taken away with Pluto retrograde, and Saturn retrograde is extremities, like problems with authority, or you feel like you got problems with authority, and Saturn retrograde could even be abuse. And remember, again, children is the 5th house. So you definitely see it. Like this full moon, either you're going to hear about it or it's going to come out eventually. Because it's like sometimes things may take a while to come out, and then they'll go on August 14th or August 15th, 2019. This situation, she claims this happened, or the child claims this happened at that time. But like I said, you clearly see it. 5th house is always going to be about children. The 4th house could be about children. It's the family. 5th house is about children. And in the 6th house, or anywhere where you see Virgo, is about children. And if you're looking on these charts, all those areas I just said, you see a whole lot of retrogrades, whole lot of drama. And it's a rough business, because sometimes you see this and you try to tell people, but then they get mad. But then if you didn't tell them, this is what they're going to say. Oh, if only I knew, I could have stopped this. Oh. But you didn't want to know because the person tried to tell you, you wouldn't even read the email. So it's a lot of BS on this planet. I'm never going to stop saying it, and it's kind of sad. But this is why these cowards have gotten away with so long of doing the stuff they do, because ain't nobody man enough or woman enough to stand up to them. And anybody coming out here that talks the truth like me, they get shunned quick. So you're either going to play this game or just be outcasted. All right, so the fifth house of fun is going to have a whole lot of restrictions in it because of Capricorn, Pluto retrograde, and Saturn retrograde. And her fifth house has the home in it with Mars and more Saturn retrograde. So that's why I said everything I said, and definitely giving an implication of abuse. So that's why I said just keep an eye on everything. Even when say you're separated, and that might even be the kid's father, but sometimes you just leave the kids over his house or whatever. You want some time away. You still gotta be very careful because you just don't know what's going on. And unfortunately, like even in the house where you're all in the same house, this is stuff that people don't want to talk about stuff like that. But it's here. That's why you have natal charts. This stuff is in your natal chart, so you can talk about it. And I'm telling you, right before I did this video, because God has been hammering that in since He told me that in the beginning of August. I did this chart. I just put it on unlisted. I have it on my channel. It's just unlisted. You can't see it. Only people that can see it is clients. Now, ever since I said that, God's been just showing me relentlessly, the blatant abuse against females, and especially younger females. And some of them stand up for themselves. Some of these girls are 17 or younger, just teenagers, but they just get tired of the abuse, and they got to, because ain't nobody. That's why I said obviously ain't nobody really fighting for them. Right, so looking at the chart on the right, if you go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and we already did the seventh. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the seventh house because we already did that with the angel card reading. But the seventh house is all about too much Scorpio, and Uranus is also making things go a little hectic. 23 degrees is like Uranus. Things go a little bit hectic. Yeah, 23 degrees, yep. So you just have to learn how to ground it a little bit. Get a little maturity in that house and ground it a little bit. And be careful, because now if you notice the chart to the left, Scorpio's in the third house. And that's the house of communication. So again, watch what you say, because what you say could start off lame. And like I said, it's just the way things are played out. In my video, the Archangel card reading I did, I told you about tick for tack. And this is how things start, because you may be in an environment where you live with certain people. So one person is just getting on your nerves. Because this is how the universe works. You got good cop, bad cop. So one person is getting on your nerves. They're always talking crazy. They're criticizing you all the time. Every time you say something, they got to say something back slick. And it's pissing you the fuck off, because it's like your house, you're here, and you don't want to hear that shit all the time. And then you got somebody else in the house that's being more understanding and more, and then stuff just pops off. That's just where you're at. That's just the universe you're in. And like I said, people just don't want you to talk about it. But you can go right to YouTube and see all this information is right there. You could look it up. You could do a research in a search engine. All this information is right there. So it's not like it's not happening. It's just that people want to just turn a deaf ear and deaf eye because they don't want to deal with it, and plus they don't want to worry about it because it could happen in their own house and they don't want to think about it. But that's why the only way you're going to prevent anything is to think about it, is to talk about it, and then to start to come up with systems to make sure these things don't happen. So that way you don't have to fake it and act like you're so shocked when it happened. When you were already aware of this shit, you just didn't want to deal with it. So again, that Leo energy, well, the fifth house is going to be kind of restrictive on what I said. But then again, you have Leo in the 12th house, and for the most part, everything looks pretty good over there. Oh yeah, and I take that back. So we don't have Mars and Virgo in the chart to the left. That Mars is in the 12th house with Leo. But again, like I said, be careful because anytime you see Mars and Leo, that could be abuse to small ones. And at 28 degrees, there's something that's over the top, like it's not balanced. So you got to be very careful when you see 28 degrees, especially like with this. But other than that, you know that 12th house looks pretty good. You got the Sun in Leo, and the Sun rules Leo. You got Venus, but the only thing is Venus in the 12th house could be like secret fantasy, secret lovers, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna tell you again, and this is why I keep saying it because that's what the chart is saying. Anytime you see Leo, it could be Leo, but it could also be children, because Leo rules the fifth house of fun and children and stuff like that. Anytime you see Mars and Leo, that could be any form of abuse. It could be violent abuse, psychological abuse. It could be sexual abuse. And it does, just because it's Mars, it doesn't mean they're smacking the person around. But legally speaking, they shouldn't be doing that anyway. So that's why I'm trying to tell y'all. Even if somebody said, "Listen, I did this with this 16-year-old, but we both wanted it." It doesn't matter. Legally, you're still going to jail. That's still statutory. So the same thing with Mars and Leo in the 12th house with Venus. You got to be careful because whenever you see Venus in the 12th house, it's going to be secret love affairs, just like I'm telling you. And that's why I say this is why you have astrology and stuff like that, to get you in the right frame of mind so you know what to talk to your kids about and how to do your house. And not just turn a deaf ear and hope it happens to somebody else and then all that bullshit. And then you just put on an act when it gets found out. Then you go, "Oh, I didn't know, sorry." And you didn't know. Somebody told you that was a possibility like 3-4 weeks ago. Had you acted on it, you could have saved the person. But you ain't do shit. But now you're going to sit here and act like, "Oh, if I didn't know." You know, because you care more about yourself and your ego than you care about your own whatever. And that's for anybody listening. Remember, these videos go out to a lot of people. So it's never made for just one person. It go out, that's the way anyway. Just like sometimes when you go to a church service, you might go to a church service and you think you're just gonna sit there and chill out or go to sleep while the guy's talking, but then he starts talking about a lot of shit that has to do with you, and you're like, who told this man my business? Nobody told. Well, no human told that man your business, but God told that man your business, and that's why from the moment you sit there, he just starts to go into his sermon, and it sounds like he's talking directly to you. So that's why these things go on, because God is constantly, the universe is constantly trying to help people wake up to a lot of stuff, but people want to just stay dumbed down and they just want to act like a certain way. And that's why I say it. He keeps saying it, teachers. So this is Sunday school teachers. Really, like I said, any form of education, anywhere where adults are allowed. Because like I said, even Leo could be like a coach, a gym teacher, female or male. This is the situation where anywhere naive people or younger people, or with like somebody would take advantage of, like a teacher, a coach, an older person. It could be the child might have a girlfriend or a male friend, and when I say that, I mean just friends. I don't mean like relationship wise, romance, but that's they're best friends, the two girls. But it might be a person's parent anywhere. these are just times just to be aware. And I can't stress it enough, because I know people want their kids to have fun and be happy, but you got to be careful, because sometimes you give it's too much freedom, and you're not finding out like where are they at. Oh, I'm gonna be over Jenny's house, but where over Jenny's house and what's going on over Jenny's house? And you say, well, I don't want to be overprotective and stuff, but you just got to be careful. Have you ever met Jenny's parents? Or have you ever been over Jenny's house? Like, do you even know what the hell's going on over Jenny's house? Who the hell is Jenny? Some of this stuff you need to know. I'm sorry. Because I'd rather you be mad at me for saying it and protect the kid than don't say shit. Like I said, I'm still upset what happened to 2 little girls in Belmar, New Jersey. Because nobody told them, no, you can't go to the beach by yourself when you know there's no lifeguards down there. So now they're both dead. They're not coming back. So anytime I think about that, it just gets me so upset how grown adults are so immature that they really don't want to deal with this. And this is why this is going on with all these children, all this horrible stuff that's happened to all these children, because no adults were man enough or woman enough to do anything about it. And that's why I'm going to say it again. All over the world right now, women, mostly younger women, are raising up because they're tired of it. Because until you get tired of the bully, he's going to keep bullying you. But we can't go without saying that Juno and Leo in the 12th house, and the 12th house is about endings and reckonings. And sometimes you do find things out in the 12th house. Now, even right now, you hear me telling her more and more this Leo energy, this Leo energy. So she has to ask herself, is her ex, does he have a strong Leo? Because if it's not him, then it is a new person. But we did the angel cards. We did everything we could do to find out who this person was. And the best we could come up with is this is a person who's not ready to let himself be known yet. But he's there. But that's kind of funny because that's the 12th house. Because the 12th house is stuff hiding under the carpet and hidden stuff. So is the 8th house with Scorpio. So even this chart to the left, it is. That's like secret lovers, people who got a secret crush on you, or somebody you might work with that you think that person don't like you, and you don't know that they go home dreaming about you and stuff like that. So, an area, because I just did some horoscope readings for Leo, and they basically said that it was somebody on YouTube rather. It was like a card reading, and they said, yeah, you Leos, you got a secret admirer, and you don't even know this person likes you, but they do, and blah, blah, blah. So that's what you're kind of looking at over here to the left with this Leo in the 12th house. And when you got Mercury there, that's communication, but that's also thinking. So these are secret thoughts, these are secret fantasies and stuff like that. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, but this is why you got to watch your children. You got to watch your kids, even if they're young teenagers, because they're still kids. They might be young teenagers. They might be really smart, but you still got to be careful. So that was Leo. And like I said, just be careful with the Taurus, because like anything could happen with the Taurus. But whatever the Sagittarius is as well, because Taurus is in the 9th house. The 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius. And Vesta in Taurus could also, because Vesta can be spiritual. It just depends. But in Taurus, she could be very sensual too. And some people said it could be a repressed person, where they may think about sex, but they don't do anything, or they feel guilty and they don't do anything. But it could be that, but that's not always the case. Because both Taurus and Vesta can be highly sexual, and then like, with Uranus retrograde, that's coming out of nowhere. All right, so for the most part, that's the main thing in her Aries. Her Aries is in the 12th house, and again, that's like a well, that person could be repressive. They could be like they could have a lot of anger that they're repressing. Where Aries in the 12th house, and I think we already came up with that. We already said that when we did their chart. Because Scorpio can be that way, Scorpio can be that way, and Uranus retrograde is things coming out of nowhere. So that's why I'm telling you, even and she got a little retrograde. So this is kind of like a lot of repressed or secrecy on this chart to the right. So that's why I said you have to be very careful. You're better off dealing with it and getting it out in the open and stuff like that. And parents shouldn't be afraid to talk to their children about any of this stuff or anything they feel a need to. Because like I said, a lot of stuff could help. Because if you don't talk about it, let's just say it is an adult. Like maybe she goes over a friend's house, Jenny's house, whatever, and Jenny's father's a pervert, and she can get a feeling like if you talk to her about it, she's aware of it. So if somebody starts creeping her out, looking at her creepy, she knows to get the hell out of there. However you got to get out of there, it doesn't matter. But get the hell out of it, come on home and whatever, and we'll deal with it as parents. But if nobody talks to her about it, and this guy keeps looking at her, and he's just scheming, nobody ever talked to her about it, she doesn't know, and now she's caught up in some shit. And what you got to understand is when it happens the first time, it may keep on happening. She may never speak until she has to. That's why some of these females don't come clean until way later. And some of the parents be like, "Yeah, I'm glad because I don't want to deal with it." But they might be a grown adult when they finally go. I was over there one day and it's happened. And then once it happened second, 3, 4 times. And I'm talking about this again because that's what's on this chart. And every time I talk, I show you where I'm at and why I'm saying what I'm saying. And if you're listening, again, you can look it up yourself. We just live in a world today where people want to be dumbed down and they want to argue. They don't want to listen. They just want to argue because they don't want to hear it and don't want you talking about it. So they want to just start arguing or some shit. But no, for anybody listening, you may protect somebody because that is the intensity that is going around right now. So we basically talked about Leo a lot because she had Leo on her angel card reading. We did Virgo a lot, and we did Taurus a lot as well. Anything like career would be Capricorn. Well, on this chart to the left, Capricorn is being stymied with a abusive karma with Saturn retrograde and karma that might take something away from them. But that's Capricorn in the 5th house, so that's really Leo energy. So Leo may see these things happening from a serious perspective because of Capricorn, or it might be a karmic perspective because Capricorn could be karmic ruled by Saturn. And then the 10th house has Gemini, so that could be your speaker, could be somebody that works in communications, broadcasting, anything mental, could be traveling, but traveling at short distances. Capricorn in the 9th house could be pretty good because if that's a business, that could be like higher learning or broadcasting or speaking or a teacher. It could even be the legal system. Or that's your in-laws. So it could even be in-laws. It could be somebody like a travel agent because that's long distance travel. So yes, like I said, just make sure your ex is not the Leo. That's all I can tell you. And if the ex is not your like, if your ex doesn't have a strong Leo on his chart, if he's not a Leo rising sign, ascendant moon sign, then it's just somebody else. But we did I did everything we could to find out what this energy is, and all I can find out is it's part of your soul family that's really trying to help you, but just to make sure. And then when you see Leo over here, The 12th house is the house of secrets, but it's also a spiritual house, and it's a leader in it. But you're supposed to be a servant in the 12th house. You can't be egotistical, but you got the sun and Leo there, and you know that could be very egotistic. Who knows? But the creepy part is Venus, because Venus is about Venus in the 12th house is definitely about fantasy, secret love affair, and then you got Mercury there. Mercury can also be very mental as well. A lot of thinking goes in. Could be communication as well. A lot of thinking goes in, and then Juno, serious relationship, and then you got overbalance, which is scary, at Mars. So that's overbalance, and that's why I said you got to understand what abuse is. Some people can be a master manipulator, so they may never hit you or grab you or make you feel like you were forced to do it, but they can outthink you with Mercury thought. That's communication as well. They can outthink you, and then again in the 12th house is very psychic. With even like Neptune rules the 12th house, Neptune and Pisces energy. It could even be like a mind game, like what they said about Charles Manson. Oh, you don't understand. He made us do it. How did he make you do it? You don't understand what he's able to look. He's looking at me now. You say he's sending those. They were like, you people out of your freaking mind, because they didn't understand. He had really beat the women down. Like he was all in their head. All he had to do was stare at them, and the women was flipping out. Look, he's sending his power now. You don't understand. So that's all that 12th house stuff. So that's why I be trying to tell you, and especially like with something like a young child or a teenager. It's easy for somebody that's like mental, that Mercury is mental, stuff like that. It's easy. It's easily manipulation. And that's what Charles Manson did. He just got him high off drugs. And remember, the 12th house deals with like drugs and, you know, getting people high or whatever. And he got him high off drugs, got him high off that. He just systematically beat them down. And he had them people trained so well that, you know, all he had to do was look at him, and they immediately felt like he was sending, which he might have been. He probably was. They immediately felt like he was sending them some type of telepathic message, and it was going to make them feel pain, and they were terrified and tell them don't look at me and all that other crazy stuff. And like I said, just look it up for yourself. Venus in the 12th house. But that is definitely about fantasy, secret love affairs, and stuff like that. And now, could it be some good things? It could be, but the overall message of what we're reading is not necessarily happy. Because I did this chart before. The first time I did this chart to the left, all the way around I said it didn't look too good. I said, but the 12th house looked pretty good. But that was without light of what I know now. And the 12th house still looks good, but you also got to account for Venus at 28 degrees. That's an over extreme. And then Mars at 28 degrees. That's an over extreme. Mars is very aggressive, very combative at times. Venus is definitely Venus in the 12th house. Everybody knows that secret love, fantasizing secret love affairs and stuff like that, or wishing you could and all that. And even 4 degrees on Mercury, that 4 degrees could be Aries energy. So Aries is also aggressive. So having all that with Leo, it kind of spells it out for itself. It's not like it's just Leo there with Venus or something like that. It's not. It's a whole lot of, like, if it was just Leo and Venus, then I would, you know, maybe be able to you know, say something differently, but it's not. This, even with the sun, is intensity. And for some people, it could be twin flame stuff, because you see the 22-22. But for other people, it's going to be exactly what I said. There's a lot of secret stuff going on. I'm going to tell you again. Spend more time talking to your children about real stuff. You know, don't wait till something happens or you're suspicious and all that. Because to me, that just means you didn't do your job. Like, if you got to wait till something seems a certain way before you're willing to talk about or ask a question, you waited too long. You should have been and just sat them down and talked to them, just to let them have an idea of what to do, what kind of backup plan, and they're not going to be in trouble and stuff like that, so that they know. So this is the moment anything even looks a certain way, the person will immediately jump into action, and that's how your kids get saved. Like I said, this is what should have happened the day the female said to the adult, "We're going to go down to the beach because it's free. The lifeguards are going now. It's free." She could have said, "Okay, I'm going to go with you. We're not going to stay down there forever because I have other things to do. Well, I'll go down there with you for a while, but we're not going to stay down there forever." That way they would have had an adult with them. Or she could have said, "No, you're not going." Or she could have came up with anything. Today, just shoot each other with the hose or something. I go jump in the bathtub, whatever, but you're not going down to no beach by yourself. No, the waves can take you out there. The undercurrent can take you out there, so that's not happening. You're not going down to the beach by yourself. You're not going near the water by yourself. You're not even going on the sand by yourself. Plus, you're 2 little kids. This world is too crazy. I'm sorry if I'm overprotected, but I still have my kids. That's the bottom line. My kids will still be with me, and I'll be able to say I was a good parent, and nobody did the stuff that they're doing to kids now. But that's poor parenting, and I'm sorry if people are mad about it. But maybe if more people got mad, less kids would stop being violated. So that's my stand on it. That's this reading. God bless.